contaminated, parts of ditch plains are contaminated. And I think that what we have to do as a community, we have to understand if our septics are broken and if they need to be fixed. I think that people here, some people have the means to be able to replace them. So I think that if they don't know that they're broken, I think that the county should sponsor or at least get people on the ground to go in and inspect the septics and start creating a list now, not wait 2 years from now. You know, we should be doing that right at this moment. I think that there needs to be an education program put out there so that we know what we should be doing. And I think on the books, on the code of East Hampton Town, that we should be pumping our septics every 3 years. I don't think half the people in this town know that, especially the people that live on the Harbor Protection Overlay District, which is all of Fort Pond, all of Lake Montauk, and all of the Bay and ocean areas. They should be pumping out at least once a year. So maybe the county can even maybe subsidize some of the pump out costs. Maybe we get coupons to do that if it's too expensive, but something needs to be done now. We can't wait for any of this new technology to be out there.
Last from the supervisors. What do you have, Supervisor Thornhill?
Well, I would say to that end, I mean, that's the kind of thing that we're talking about with, and that's why you all have to vote for this, which is this new program as part of the Community Preservation Fund that would allow a certain percentage of the funding to go to water projects. And that's the kind of thing that we're talking about. Inspection, pump out, upgrade, et cetera, which are things that we can do right away. And if that comes to pass, that funding will be made available very, very soon. And that's the kind of program we'd be talking about doing.
I have a question over here.
We'll make this the last one. Yes, sir.
Yes, hi. My name is John Fusco. I live on the road here in Montauk.
Little closer so we can make sure we hear you.
My name is John Fusco. I live on Fenwick Road in Montauk, right here up the hill. And I've lived out here for 2 years. And when I first bought the house, I had my septic tank, the holding tank, pumped out, just to be on the safe side. And this year, this is the second year we're here, I had it pumped out again. And it contained almost 300 gallons of effluent. Now, the only people living in this house are my wife and myself, and normal showers, washing, whatever. We had about 300 gallons of effluent. So my suggestion, Mr. Campbell, might it be feasible for the town to require that every residence have their septic, their holding tank, pumped out, say, biennially, every 2 years, and submit a paid receipt with their taxes.
Right.
And perhaps, I'm only thinking of the rental properties also. Now, we have 2 people living in our house, so we created 300 gallons. 90 days of a rental property with 10 or 12 people running around and taking showers, washing dishes, doing this, that, the other thing. Can you imagine the effluent? This will keep the effluent from going into the leaching tanks the way I understand septic systems work, and thereby keep the water out of the ground. Thank you.
Great.
It's been brought up a couple of times. I mean, the town created, when the town built the scavenger waste plant, which was 30 years ago, 35 years ago in East Hampton, they adopted a law and a scavenger waste district. Everybody, paid for. And I'm happy to say we actually shut that scavenger waste plant down because it was not functioning and costing us over $800,000 a year.
And polluting the groundwater.
And possibly polluting the groundwater. And we are repurposing some of those savings in the scavenger waste district budget for water quality improvement and for a water quality program. My point is that when the town did that, it adopted a program that in fact required, as I think Laura or someone mentioned, that septic systems be inspected and that septic systems be pumped every 3 years. And that was 35 years ago, and I don't think the town ever required anybody to do that.
Really?
One important practical aspect of this that has to be understood, and that is if you calculate the number of homes that you have in your community. We have roughly 50,000 of them in the town of Southampton. And you require them to get pumped out every 3 years. You start doing the math on what that would require in terms of staff to do that. In other words, the number of companies that have the technology, the trucks, the pump out, whatever, to actually get that done, and then to get it somewhere for treatment, for, to bring it up island, we can say that now that it's an executive, to be treated somewhere else, and make sure that the whole, that whole process is in place in a way that is actually doable and affordable, but more than anything else, that there are enough trucks, enough pump-out people in place, enough people that are trained to do it and whatever. That infrastructure is not in place today. We're working on it, but it's not as easy as saying, okay, we're gonna pass a law tomorrow that's gonna require everyone to pump their house out or their septic system out, whatever it is, every 3 or every 2 years. And I will also say too, that it is not certain that 3 years is the magic number. Again, our scientists at Stony Brook are looking at this to understand what does make sense. And how do you measure that? Do you measure it based on how many people, the size of the house, et cetera, et cetera? And again, to do it right requires a little bit of homework, and we're working on that in the town of Southampton, and I think that's something that, everyone needs to do.